Oh, fantastic. Were you before with Octave Klaba as well? Were you in the room or you just arrived? Say yes if you just arrived, like this way. Okay, yeah, so mostly, okay, you're coming from that topic. I'm super happy to be here with you. It's really weird because, like usually there is like the echo of the micro and here I don't listen my own voice. So it's a bit fun. So I hope it's gonna be okay. First, the Odoo team asked me to show you this that you don't see and that you see. So this is something that you can flash with your phone, and if you have any questions, you can ask the questions here, and I will answer it in the end. So yeah, you can just like use these little dinosaurs, the Google Chrome dinosaurs that when it's not working, you can play around and make a high score. If you have a big high score with that game, let me know. Anyway, I think yeah, everyone flashed that up. So the main goal of today is to help you to go from that situation. This is my first LinkedIn post 8 years ago. Really bad, really shitty posts. Yes, like the first one is fantastic, right? Changing the education to solve most of the world problems. Yay! Inspiring. Should have written a book about that. So this is one of my first LinkedIn posts with, of course, no one that is liking it, no one like it that is commenting it. It's a big failure. And the goal is to go from this, so post that no one reads, no one like, no one share, and to transform it into that. So this is the message I received from Marine asking me to be here today and do this very own talk. So the message was like, hey, I want to invite you to the talk at Odoo, blah, blah, blah. I'm today sure that what you can share about your journey can be great for your brand and for your podcasts. So I went from boring, not interesting post on LinkedIn to be invited to an event, and this is the first time ever I'm doing a talk in English. So please forgive my very French accent, and in case you have like any kind of like criticize, you can make it in the end. I will accept it, and you will be right to do so. So that's the goal of today. So that's me. I'm Leo, and this is my co-founder Elise. My job is to train people in recruitment. I used to be a recruiter for 10 years in different companies, and now we help recruiters, we help companies to hire better. And one part about hiring better today in 2024 is to build your own personal brand. If you build your own brand, you will attract candidates, you will attract customers. That's going to be the theme of today. And at the same time, I'm also working with Welcome to the Jingle, that you may know. It's a French startup, and they have like the biggest work media in France. And I have my podcast that you can listen if you speak French. Can we like just who speaks French in this room? Almost everyone. So you don't have any excuses of, yeah, no, sorry, I'm not speaking French. So you can Google Tam Tam, it's a podcast. The last episode of last week was with Chantal, which used to be the person that hired everyone for the Paris 2024 Olympic and Paralympic Games. And she's explaining everything about hiring people from Olympic Games. So it's super interesting. Google it, have fun. Today's program is going to be for me to show you what is personal brand. Like maybe you've never heard about this thing before, like what is that? How can you harvest and release its power for your business, for your job seeking, or if you're looking to hire? Maybe like a quick see who today is mostly looking for clients, like customers. Who is looking for customers? Okay. Who is looking for candidates? You can vote twice. Okay, and who is looking for a job? Okay, so mostly everyone, you have a reason to be here, and good thing is it works for every situation, even the three at the same time. But it's a bit weird, but why not? And then we're gonna talk about LinkedIn in the end of this talk. So what is personal brand? Who didn't hear before this talk today what is personal brand? Like this personal brand sentence, who never heard of it? Don't know, don't have any idea what it is. Okay, so you're all familiar with that. Just to illustrate that, like on the right here, I'm coming from a town called Poitiers. Maybe some of you been there. If you didn't, that's fine. You're not missing anything up. And for the first 18 years of my life, I was in the middle of the countryside. I had more cows and chickens and birds as neighbors rather than humans. That's why today now I'm living back, but in the mountain. And today, after 30 years of my life, I'm doing my first English conference. I was not made for that, and I'm here because I've built my personal brand. And that's one of the demonstration. I'm gonna have a few examples later on, so you can understand that. Of course, this guy. He built like a tiny company of like hundreds-ish kind of big tiny brand. No one knows about the brand. No one knows about him. Now it's Jeff Bezos, and he say that the brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. So in half an hour, I'm going to be leaving the room, and you too, because it's going to be lunchtime, and you will have an opinion on me. It's going to be whether positive, of course, whether neutral or negative. And that's going to be my personal brand. Whether I want it or not, you all have a personal brand in this room. Everyone. The main thing is, do you want to build it up? Do you want to make it better? Or do you want to let others control your brand? And that's the magic of personal brand. I give you these three folks. Pretty sure you all know their faces. Maybe you like them. Maybe you don't. That's your choice, and I'm not judging it. But the three of them, they mastered personal brand in their own field. So Donald Trump, in politics, has mastered it. People don't vote for his party. People vote for him. Greta is the voice of Greta is much more louder than any single environmental kind of association you can find out there. And the third one, of course, is bigger than his own brand. Elon Musk is bigger than Tesla. Elon Musk is bigger than SpaceX. Elon Musk is bigger than X. Because his brand is above the rest of it. And if he does something bad, all of the stocks are going down. You know, you've heard about all of the Tesla stock going down at some point. So these people, they build a brand that helps them to be successful in whatever they are doing in their life. And that's what the goal of personal branding is. Now I'll give you a real business example of people that literally start from not that much and manage to go from something bigger. So example, this guy, his name is Karim. He did like a bachelor degree in law. Didn't like it at all. He worked for 2 years in a law firm. I don't know if some of you work in a law firm, it's a really weird word. He didn't like it, so he built his own company. And today, like this is him playing with playing Mario Kart. You know the video game Mario Kart, with the biggest HRD, one of the most important in France, in one of the biggest bank there is. So we went from like in Orléans, which is a small city in France, to have like more than 80 followers on LinkedIn, and everything because he built his own brand. He spent a lot of time doing LinkedIn posts, doing podcasts, doing interviews, and he's talking now to all of the biggest HR director everywhere in France and a bit abroad. So this is an example. Second example, her name is Charlène. She's coming from same like full countryside kind of vibes. And 3 years later, she had 7K followers on LinkedIn, and then she's doubling it every single year because she's mastering the code of LinkedIn. And today, she's alone in his business with freelancers, and she's making pretty sure more than a lot of people which are like freelancers because she built her own brand. Now, more examples. This one, I've joined a company, it was like 3 years ago. I was like the first employee in this company. It's like 4 co-founders and me. It was pretty fun in like a really tiny office. And in 1 year, I've hired 40 people. 30% of them were coming from personal branding. So my LinkedIn posts drove like 30% of the traffic to people that applied and then got hired. So if you're hiring people, your own LinkedIn post can bring 30% of all of that. And with this one single post with 2.5k likes, it was 2 persons that got hired thanks to that. So if you make a post, if this post goes viral, you have like a buzz, you can attract your candidates, and I'm gonna show you the same with clients, with not doing anything at all. You're just, saying stuff you think, and this took me 5 minutes to do on the subway. This was the French Prime Minister that was like, yeah, end of remote, everyone back to the office, the end of the, like free time, you're not kids anymore, blah, 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 blah. I hated that. So 5 minutes, I was angry, I put that post, and I hired 2 and really, hard profiles to get, like technical architects and DevOps. If you're hiring DevOps, you know what I'm talking about. This is awful kind of job to hire. And I've got one with a random post. And this is the power of personal brand. Second example. 7 years ago, I drafted my first article ever. It's a really shitty article. If you want to have a look, it's really bad because it's really old, and it was the first article I wrote. But this article, there is one person that called me and be like, hey, I love this article. Do you want to go on like a breakfast and share your thoughts with like 3 or 4 other people? I'm like, oh yeah, sure, why not? This was the first time I was speaking in front of a crowd, and maybe you don't notice it now, but I'm super shy person. I used to be, now it's my job, so I don't have the choice. But by default, my default mode out of factory is shy. I'm not that shy anymore, but this is the first time people are like, hey, you have like a crowd of people, have a look. In that crowd, there is this one person that say, hey, do you want to, do the same, but in front of a bigger audience, in front of a bigger crowd? I'm like, yeah, sure, I want to do that. And in that audience, and this was 6 years ago. So 6 years ago, there is that one guy that listened to what I had to say, and now, like 2 weeks, what are we, beginning of October? Beginning of October. So like 2 weeks ago, the guy called me and be like, 6 years ago, I was in this room, can you train my recruiters? So because of personal brands, I've got a 15K contract 6 years later because this guy remember of this talk that I did. And this once again is the power of personal brand. So if you're looking for customers, if you create some content online today, even if you're the super shy kind of person, and it's okay, we have this part of us which is you can get money from that. Third example, 2 years ago I did a tiny experiment. So I want, like the mystery shoppers. So I did the mystery candidates. So I applied to 40 companies to see what the process looked like, what was the job ad, what was the recruitment process, what was the interview. And because of this experiment, there was one person, once again, that said, hey, I love this experiment. Do you want to share that thoughts with an audience? This was a room of 400 people. This was my biggest crowd so far. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And now you kind of like understand what's going to happen next. So in this crowd, after this conference, after this talk, I get a 45K contract from one big company that was in this room. Second thing, there is that person that say, hey, do you want to sponsor my podcast? I was, yes, of course. And third thing is, do you want to build like a media partnership with us? So with just one piece of content created online, a LinkedIn post drove to money, even more, people that be like, hey, do you want to participate to that? And a sponsor for a podcast, which is like a really hard thing to get. So that's the power of personal brand. And I hope that I convinced you that it works. No matter if you're looking for candidates or customers, this today is a no-brainer. And if you're in product management, you know about the flywheel potentially. So like one thing that will release other stuff, like the virtuous cycle. So if you improve your brand, people will come at you. You don't even have to call people. That's the beauty of personal brand. If you do that, you don't have, to get your phone and be like, hi, I have something to sell. I build like a SaaS with AI and we are developing blah, 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 blah. No, people will see of the content you have created and they will come for you. They will come for your own person because they want to work with you, not with your brand. Maybe you're thinking, what's in it for me? So what are the 4 main advantages of personal brand? You can meet people. My co-founder, I met her because she likes one of the posts I did, and I've met this most important person in my life after my girlfriend, after my mom. So she's the third most important person in my life because of personal brands. It can improve your self-esteem. Maybe you're like, hey, you all have this imposter syndrome. Well, this is the best thing that you can build against imposter syndrome, to have people that recognize you for who you are. And you can get more business and more candidates. It's a no-brainer. Do it now. But how to do it? This one. How to release the power of personal brand. How to get. Today with Blendy, we have 100% of our customers are coming from the content that we are creating. We don't do any outreach. It's 100% organic people that are like, hey, I like what you say. I want to work with you. Yeah, I showed you these files before, but I think it's great to show them again. So don't do that. Don't do this post with like nothing at all, like no text, no links or whatever. It's 8 steps to build your brand. The first one is to know who you are. This is 2 books recommendation. I'm sorry they are in France, but I have a third one for you. The first one from Welcome to Jingle. The second one from a really cool entrepreneur called Caroline Mignot. If you know nothing about personal brand and if you want to build from from zero, read these 2 books. And I have a third one for you. It's called Building a Story Brand. You can buy it over here. They didn't give me money to do that, but I found it out and I'm super happy. It's about the story, the power of story. So you can have a look at this book. It's over here when you go out of this talk, and maybe you can buy it up. Second step is to know what you want. If you don't know what you want, your content will have, like no objective at all. So whether you are looking for a new client, candidates, or a job, you said like the 3 of them before, and it's also okay if you don't have any objectives at all. If you're just here to share knowledge, well, you can do that too. And it's, it's the beauty of the internet. You can share knowledge to people so they can absorb it, they can be happy, and then, your heart is full with gratitude. Third thing is, how do you want to be perceived? It's funny, I didn't know that this is a thing, like the YouGov, they do like the world's most admired people in the planet. The Obama couple is winning the game. So yeah, I'm not saying you should be like this Obama couple, but you have to choose the people that you look like, and you have to build your own brand, whether you want to be the funny person, whether you want to be the super, hey, I've read this article, I've read this book, and to share the knowledge, whether you want to be like a kind of like an inventor, like a scientist, and to experiment some stuff. You choose the person you want to be, but it has to be made, it has to be deliberate. You have to choose the kind of person you want to be out there. 4th step, you have to find your niche. You know, there is a lot of content, a lot of noise in the internet, Instagram, TikTok, so on and so forth. Like it's kind of like a hell, right? But if you find your own niche with the people you want to target with your own voice, then you will manage to make it easily. So find your niche and empower it. The fifth thing is you have to create your routine. So once here, it depends of the kind of person you are. Some people, they have like a 2 months LinkedIn post in advance. I'm literally unable to do that. The only, like, that's why I put like this marathon here. Once I've run the marathon, the Paris Marathon, this is the only time in my life I did sports because I had an objective. So I was super structured. I did this training and I, like finished the race with like a no full timing, but that doesn't matter. So whether you go full improv or whether you go structured, but you find your own style. Some people will love to have it organized. Let's say if you're like from a kind of like engineer background, or to make it full improv if you're more like a sales kind of person. No cliche. Sixth thing is you have to pimp your profile. If you create some content on LinkedIn, whether you look like this, person here, like, hey, I'm a Java software developer, or you pimp it up. So you put like a nice banner, like a nice picture, a nice title, and so on and so forth. So you have to make sure that your LinkedIn, is like a, you want to, whether you want to, if you see a shop you want to enter, if you're, like attracted by the shop, but it's the same for a LinkedIn profile. Seventh thing, the small things. Why the small things? This is your personal brand. I took 3 people that are making content on LinkedIn. Can you recognize the pattern? Like it's always the same kind of colors, the same kind of posts, and then in the end people are recognizing them, they're waiting for them. For myself, like it's like the tiny fox. So on my LinkedIn profile I have this tiny fox here. I have this one here as well. So always have this tiny piece of details that make people recognize you, like, oh yeah, I know this. And usually like not here because I don't know that much people in Brussels, but people like, oh yeah, I know you, I follow what you do on LinkedIn, because they recognize this tiny fox. So choose a color or choose like anything, basically, like an emoji or what you want, and people will also have this in mind. Step number 8 is to do networking. So you follow a post of someone you like. This was yesterday, like a person called Hélène. She drove the post. So then I'm like commenting it, but like blah, 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 blah. I love what you did. And then you go to the private message. Personal brand is not what you see only there, like, doing like this online, this global and public thing. It's all about the private one-to-one relationship you have with people. So you transform this visibility online to private discussion, and this is where then it will transform to customers or candidates. And step number 9, and that you can say that I'm crazy, but you have to back it up with data. So in 2022, I did like this game. Yeah, I know, it's a bit weird, but every single post I was doing, I was putting it by category, type of post, type of content, what I wanted to say, and then I noticed the number of likes, comments, share, and so on and so forth. You can make it, like automatic with AI or whatever, but it was in 2022. It was still like the beginning of all of that, and I don't have an engineer degree, so I have no idea how to make it efficient. But then it's funny because if you look at that, there is one, for instance, which is 900 likes, but one is 8 likes. So you can go from like posts that no one see at all, from posts that are super buzz, super banger. So it's okay to do that. It's okay to fail, and it's only like with regularity, with consistency, that it will work in the end. So measure what you are doing, and it's okay if you make really bad posts. It's not because of, sometimes it's because of you, but sometimes it's just because the algorithm is like, yeah, no, I don't want to put it there, and you will just go in the middle of nowhere when everyone will forget about what you said on the internet, and that's fine. Tiny bit on Zoom on LinkedIn, and it's gonna be almost the end of that. Usually when I said what I just said to you before, people be like, hey, but this is just luck. Any Harry Potter fan in this room, like the liquid luck, the Felix Felicis? No, this is not luck. What we are talking today, it's all about choosing the right topics, choosing the right type of content, and to do it with consistency. It's like sports, basically. Like I'm this kind of person that sometimes I bought like a sports subscription and I never went. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't know that in the package I have to show up to the room to do some push-ups. No. Okay, I thought it was just like because I had paid for a sports membership, it will work. This is not working. So yeah, you can share about a lot of stuff. Let's say you are hire people, so the people that were like, hey, I'm looking for candidates. You can share about candidate story, recruitment that made you proud. For instance, the podcast like Tab Tam, for instance, that you listen and you're like, hey, yeah, I've learned from that. Or like a cool conference. For instance, hey, Octave Klaba this morning, he told me that, and like I want to do blah 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 blah. So something that inspires you, you can share it with the audience, and then that's gonna work in the end. and then you choose the type of contents that goes with the topic. So you have the topic and you have the type of contents. You can go from a video, you can go from a picture, you can go for a screenshot, for a link, an article, whatever. There's no like rule here. The memes as well, like this is one of the best contents on the internet. You do a memes, and yes, on LinkedIn you can do a lot of communication with memes. This is working. This is what people want. They want to have fun on LinkedIn. They don't want the dear network, I'm looking for a backend engineer, blah blah blah. No, they want fun. You can also change the length and be like super short post or super long one. There is no rules. Once again, when I did my whole like analysis in 2022, it doesn't make any sense. There is no relationship between the length of the post and the impact it has. And one final thing, it's like the bonus. Use your emotions. I think you've seen this vice versa kind of move inside out, vice versa in French. Use your emotions. The best LinkedIn posts are the one you publish with your own feelings. You're mad at something, you're surprised about something, you're super happy that you managed to, hire this person. Well, share it. Share it with your emotions, and that's why I'm really against AI to create some LinkedIn posts, because AI doesn't know how to create the only emotions, for now, of a human being. Maybe one day when they will manage to do it, we're gonna be it's gonna be the end of humanity, but that's not the point of today. Use your emotions, use your feelings, and one of the best posts I've made was like because I was angry at something, and I shared it with the world. The only rule that you have to remember is like to experiment, to do some stuff. It will fail, it will be really bad. People will be like, maybe your colleagues will mock you, be like, what you did on LinkedIn, but it's not great. You don't don't listen to what people say. Do your own experiments. Be a scientist, like a LinkedIn content creator scientist. Do some stuff, and then you will see what is working for you with your objectives and what is not working at all. And one live example I wanted to do with you is, like to illustrate my post I'm gonna do about this conference. Are you okay if we do like a collective selfie together? If it's not okay, you can put your and then no one will see you. But then I'm gonna be using it as a LinkedIn post because it's like a live demonstration. So if you want to do something like that, woo! I'm super happy to be here. Fantastic, amazing. I'm gonna do like a wide angle, and then it's gonna be great. Cool. Well, it's not the crowd of Octave Klaba, but almost. So yeah, just this is an experiment. Maybe it will work, this post. Maybe it won't. But at least you will be a part of this story. So it's pretty cool. If you want to add me on LinkedIn, and if you have any questions about LinkedIn, you can QR code this stuff up. You're gonna be directly on my LinkedIn profile. I have nothing to sell you. I just want to share with LinkedIn. I think that the power of personal brands is super you should do it. There is no excuses not to do it. Whether you're looking for customers, candidates, or for a job, if you have any questions or whatsoever about personal brand, send me a message. I'll be happy to have a chat around. Also, I'm staying here the entire day. So yeah, have fun. And I think there is like these questions. I didn't forget this final pad stuff when you can ask your questions if you still have some. Maybe you already had it from the previous QR code before. That's the end of everything. I hope that you enjoyed this story. And in a day I'm going back to my countryside where I belong as a shy person. I was super happy to be here with you today, and I can't wait to see your LinkedIn post.